We'll be getting started in just a few seconds. Hope you can join me today. Hope you have joined me, and it's great to see you if you are here. Few people seem to be, I don't know. All right, we'll see. Anyway, we'll get started right on time. All right, how to protect your podcast or YouTube name before somebody steals it out from under you. So here's the scenario. Creator spends 2 years building out their podcast, growing an audience, building a brand, and then they get an email, someone telling them, you can't use that name anymore. And just like that, well, then they have to figure out a rebrand. They lose momentum, they confuse their audience, and it's a big setback for the business, right? Well, absolutely. Don't be put in that position. You don't want to have to start over. And the part that most people don't realize is sometimes it's really not even that simple, all right? All right, hey, I'm Gordon Firemark. I have spent my nearly 35 years as a lawyer and coach helping creators and entrepreneurs with their business structures, intellectual property, and their contracts so they can achieve maximum impact, influence, and income without legal friction or costly missteps. And in this video, I am going to show you how to know if your podcast title, YouTube channel name, or brand identity of any kind is actually safe before you invest a lot in building on it. And I'll show you what can happen even if you've been using your name for years. Here's the core issue. Most creators think that if they're using a name, well, they kind of own it. But that's not really how it works. Using a name matters, but it doesn't automatically give you the kind of protection that you might think. And just because you checked Google or grabbed the domain name or locked in your social handles does not mean it doesn't mean that you're in the clear. Let me give you a real example. Hi guys, I do read the chat. I'm just trying to deliver some content here. I'll get to you in a minute. So anyway, I had a client who had been using their brand name for about 5 years, consistently, very publicly, building a real presence around it, and they never registered their trademark. And then one day, they get approached by one of those trademark service companies, very aggressive, very urgent, basically telling someone else is going to register a similar name. So if you don't want them to do that, you better hire us right now to protect your brand. Now that alone, that scammy kind of a thing, is red flag all over the place. And a lot of these companies use that sort of fear mongering to push you into hiring them. But in this case, there actually was another company out there with a name for their service that sounded very similar, and it looked similar. It was basically identical in the way it sounded and looked, except for the way it was spelled out instead of a number in that case. And they had filed for a registration. They actually got a registration before we found out about this. And so even though my client had been using the name first by a number of years, and they were totally in the right, this still turned into a real situation. Time, legal fees, stress, all of it could have been avoided. Here's the part most people miss. A simple search before filing would have told the other company that there already was a problem. But just as importantly, if my client had registered their name earlier, this likely never would have happened at all. So what we did was this. First, we shut down the pressure from that trademark mill. No panic decisions, no overpaying. And then we looked at the actual legal position our client was in. And we worked out a resolution so that both companies were able to move forward without stepping on each other's toes. No lawsuit, no forced rebrand for either party, no canceling petitions to the trademark office to cancel that registration, no unnecessary damage done to any of the parties. These kinds of outcomes are possible. And it's true, Katy Perry would disagree on some of this. That was Australia. I'm talking about the US, but thank you for that point of view, Charles. Here's the takeaway I want you to take away. Even when you're right, you could still end up paying, and paying a lot. So the goal isn't just to have rights, it's to make your position clear enough that you never have to fight about it in the first place. Or if you do have to fight about it, you've got the evidence lined up and the protection locked in so you win quickly and easily. Most of the time when there's a registered trademark in place and the client has had it for a while and somebody comes along and infringes, we send a letter and that's all we have to do. They end up resolving it very quickly. So how do you protect yourself? Well, at a basic level, a few things you should be doing before you make the commitment to a particular name or title. First, do the broadest searching possible. Search Google, search YouTube, search podcast apps. See what's already out there. I recommend searching on Amazon too, just to see if there are books or other products with the name too, just to make sure. Then it's a good idea to check the U.S. trademark registration database. In the U.S., that's uspto.gov, and you click and find around search, and there you go. Now, the thing is, you're not just looking for identical names. No, you're looking for names that are similar, because confusion is the issue. It's what creates the real problems. And then fourth, consider your market space. Are you operating in the same industry or audience or category of goods and services as someone else with a confusingly similar name? Now, this is just a basic screen. It is not a complete guarantee, and this is where a lot of creators find themselves getting tripped up. See, the best time to handle all of this is before you launch, and the next best time is, well, as early as possible, because the more traction that you get, the more visible, the more vulnerable you become. Now, here are the mistakes that I see all the time. Picking a name just because the domain is available, assuming, well, no one else is using it, and that means you're safe. First of all, how do you know no one else is using it? They may just be not on your radar, but they're out there somewhere. Maybe people think they're going to wait until the money starts rolling in to think about this protection, and that's really too late. Or they get emotionally attached to a name. Before you've even done your homework, you're attached to something that may be untenable or just not very viable. Now, if you are not completely sure that your name is clear, well, then you're guessing. And as you just saw, even when things can be worked out, that's not a position that you want to be in. That's exactly why I created a free training coming up called Own Your Brand Before Someone Else Does. In that training, I walk you step by step through how to choose your name, how to check it properly, and actually secure it so you don't have to worry about losing it later. I've got a link below. It's ownyourbrandnow.com. And before you publish your next episode or video, make sure this part is handled. Because in an upcoming video, I'm going to be talking about something else a lot of creators are using right now that's causing some problems and getting them into trouble. It's about AI and who actually owns the content you create with it. So listen, thank you for watching. Thanks for being here with me. And I'm excited to share more of this kind of information with you. So let me know in the chat, in the comments, if you have anything you want to talk about, and we can continue the conversation. I want to say thanks to Care and Vanilla Mini Churro. I like that. And Charles Haney, about the Katy Perry comment. Yeah, all of those things are valid and legitimate issues. So thanks for being with me. I guess there's no more comments or questions. That's fine with me. I'll look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Take care.